Down in the valleys, where the cedar trees moan, the man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howl in the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please.
Hey everybody, we're kind of doing an impromptu sit-down Bigfoot talk today. We had it planned and we had some tech issues, but we got those worked out. But yeah, man, glad to be coming at you. We're going to do another Bigfoot Live tonight at 7 p.m. But right now, as you can see in the studio, I got the one and the only Dennis Dean, man. This, all right. This is a big deal to me because if you know anything about my background, I moved to the thumb of Michigan, not really knowing I was going to be getting into this. And at the time there was a Bigfoot sighting down the street at the Cass River, a bunch of things unfolded. I had the ferry sighting. And as time went on, just a little bit of time, mind you, this guy got a hold of me and was like, hey, man, you are definitely hot and not cold. There is so much activity and so much history of Bigfoot encounters and Bigfoot sighting here in the thumb of Michigan. So yeah, folks, I'm so happy Dennis has gotten a hold of me. We've met multiple times and he kind of reinforces my beliefs about the thumb of Michigan, let alone the whole state. So Dennis, man, it's good to have you in the studio today. I appreciate it. Sorry, some of the cameras weren't working. We couldn't figure out. It worked before, my multiple cameras, but you know what? I have torn this all down and reset it up because I had to be at the conference a week ago. So maybe that messed something up.
Sure.
But my apologies, but we're good. We're on one camera now. And
I am finally here at this place. So it's good that I come down here to see you.
Without a doubt, man. It's good to have you in the studio.
Yeah.
You're my first person in the studio.
Okay.
So that's a big deal to me, too.
Okay.
So, yeah, but let's get started, man. Looking at us on the big screen right there. Mm-hmm. We're on Facebook. So hello, everyone. I know no one was expecting this broadcast, but we're going to have fun with it and everybody's going to be able to see it. Dennis, I've got all my knowledge of the thumb. You keep giving me more knowledge of the thumb. A lot of it's based off this book called Bigfoot Encounters in Michigan's Thumb by Robert C. Brenner. I know Val Savala and Robert Daigle have contributed to this book as well. So you put all this, Dennis Dean here, all of this knowledge going back decades, and then just all the encounters that people have gotten a hold of me with. All my personal encounters. So, Dennis, when did it kind of all start for you? How did this thing unfold for you? Let's go back to your childhood, where you grew up, what city, because that's an important city.
Cass City, Michigan was where I grew up back in the 70s and early 80s.
Okay.
And we had some really weird stuff going on in that area, but I never attribute to being a cryptid like a Bigfoot or one of these what do you call those? Those werewolf type. Critters.
Oh yeah, the dog man.
The dog man.
Yeah,
critters. So, but when I opened up my eyes as a child, that I first saw any evidence of a Bigfoot or whatever was back when I was a child in elementary school. There was a book written out by John Green and Apes Among Us, 1978 it was made. And I checked it out. And here inside, they had the story of a canyon. They had a picture of Patty in there and stuff. I'm like, there's supposedly a big creature monster living out in the Northwest. But that was my first eye opening of there was some sort of a critter like that, you know. But as time went on, there was stuff going on around the farm and stuff, and but we never attribute to anything but maybe coyotes or something in that nature. But as years went by, I I've never put any thought of what it was or anything, you know. But as the time went on, forgot about all that stuff. I went to college. I went in UP of Michigan, and I ended up moving to Wisconsin. And as my kids got older and stuff, we took a trip. We used to take a trips all the time to here in the thumb of Michigan for family reunions and whatnot. And in the summer of 19 or 2009, I believe it was, we took a trip out to the petroglyphs, Sanilac petroglyphs, just north of where we're at now in Sandusky here. And my kids, it was a hot summer day. It was like on a Wednesday or something like that. It was 4th of July week, and we were here for another family reunion on the next Saturday. But it was really hot out that day. It was like 94 degrees, and the kids were getting restless. It's like, okay, well, let's go for a little walk in a park somewhere. So we headed up in the middle of the day. It had been about 2 o'clock in the afternoon after we had lunch.
Sure.
And we went up there, and we were the only car there. So we're like, great, this is great. Nobody's here. Nobody's going to, have to worry about nothing. And so we took a walk, and we walked around. They have a big stone there on the ground with petroglyphs on it. And it's covered with a roof over it. And so, to get into it, if you wanted to get into seeing it, you had to go to the neighbors to get the key. He'll come down and open it up for you. But we didn't have time for that. So we just kept on walking around that little pavilion like deal there and started walking to the west. Well, you get to the west, you see these signs. It says where an old logging camp was. And you just keep on walking. And there's other little rock outcrops there that has petroglyphs on them, but just not many. But we kept walking, and we walked by this big old pine tree. And there's a big old foot that's like been set in that stone forever. I think, have you seen that stone?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a stone there. We're like, okay, there's a stone with a footprint in it. And it looks like it's been there forever. But anyways, after we left to go back to the east on that trail.
Are you talking about the
Yes.
the one with all the pictures on it?
Yes.
You know what?
There's a you go around where that pine tree is. There is a track about this big.
No, I don't know that.
Yes, it probably might have been. It might have been covered up by leaves when you went by there, because you went there. Probably a different time, didn't you? Like
I've been there multiple times, but now you got to show me where that's at.
But if you go by that pine tree, there is a track, like somebody put their shoe in it, and it's the shape of a foot, like a shoe, and it's like it's been there forever. So, but as you go past that tree, you'll head towards this little meadow area where the trees at that time were little. They weren't too tall. They're pine trees. And we came to this pine tree. This is with my 3 kids, and they're all small at the time. And we got to that spot and we smelled this skunky smell. And we all said at once, skunk. And after we just said that, this thing made 2 whoop sounds, very loud. And there must have been more than one, because this one was back further than the creek that we were about to walk up on. It might have been like a scout or whatever watching out for the rest of the clan that was over by the water, because it made those 2 whoops. It took off, and then a bunch of others took off from that creek that you couldn't see in front of us yet. You had to walk a little ways. You wouldn't see the creek until you got onto it where the bridge is. So we got to that bridge, and we seen a tree swaying. It was probably 4 or 5 inches in diameter, swaying back and forth. And the grass, I didn't tell him earlier. I just told him about this, that I didn't tell anybody about this because they probably think you're nuts or whatever. But
Yeah, they think you're nuts.
But
Yeah.
anyways, the grass was moving, but there was nothing there. The tree was swaying, and the grass was swaying, and like you could hear something. They were running off.
Now, can I interject something?
Sure.
I'm editing episode 4. Let's see here. I want to make sure I get this right. Episode 4 of season 3 is what I'm editing right now, and it is with Chad Skolton of Alpena, Michigan. Now, what Dennis is saying right now is very, very important, because in Chad's episode, his Bigfoot sighting is a consistent sighting of a Bigfoot he calls Randy, but it's always cloaking when it walks by him, and he's sitting in his deer blind, his deer stand, and this thing walks by, and it's like a mirror that walks by. And I got a picture on here, and we'll jump to that picture in a little bit.
Okay.
But so just to kind of confirm what you're saying is you're seeing something go by.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The grass was moving, but there's nothing there. So that there, I kind of just like never told anybody about that part of the encounter that I had.
Because people think you're nuts.
Yeah, because after I seen a bunch of others come out with this story of there's something moving, but they don't see it. I had to tell him this on this episode of what I saw when I was walking through that bridge there, and now that was going on. But I'm pretty convinced. I'm pretty convinced that tree was swaying because they used it to climb out of the creek with.
Grab a hold of.
And take off fast.
Yeah, that's the mainly.
That's the only why I thought that tree was swaying. That was the only thing I could think of. But when we were at that creek bridge right there, and I told my kids, I says, that was a Bigfoot. And my daughter's like, those things aren't supposed to exist, Dad. And my little son, my oldest son didn't say anything, but my little son, he was like scared. He's like, Dad, can we go now? so we left. We left, and that was it. That was the encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And
here, let's say hi to hey John Stewart, how you doing? Hey Ty, that is Tyler420 on YouTube. Hello everybody. We got a bunch of people chiming in on Facebook as well, so super cool.
Hi everybody. Nice to meet you guys.
Very cool. I don't feel like doing any commercials today, but I should, right? Should I do one?
Sure.
All right, let me see if I can find it. All right, we're gonna do one commercial for our sponsor right now.
No friends online? Start a full AI Wolves match with AI players. Choose Quick Start. Each game gives you a hidden role. You may protect the village, investigate others, or become a wolf hiding in plain sight. At night, secret actions happen. When the village wakes up, the discussion begins. AI players accuse, defend, question, and try to convince you. Read carefully. Some players may be telling the truth, and some may be lying. Choose who seems suspicious, defend your decision, and vote carefully. Each round continues until the villagers find the wolves, or the wolves take over. AI wolves. Find the liar. Survive the vote.
Very cool, very cool. That is the new AI Wolves phone game for your cell phone, for your smartphone. What's so cool about that is if you don't have a friend or a relative to play with, if they're across the country, you can play against AI. And that's the whole purpose of the AI Wolves phone game. So super cool. All right, Dennis, back to you. Super cool having you here in the studio. We're talking about the thumb of Michigan. We're talking about what people still don't want to believe in. Hunters coming by saying, hey, you're full of, I've been coming out here 40 years, you're nuts. Well,
Yeah.
we've got all Dennis's knowledge, all of the eyewitnesses contacting me. We've got a book here that was written about Bigfoot encounters in the thumb of Michigan. Oh, sorry about that. Let me read just one encounter, and then we're going to get back to all your stories. This is Tuscola County. So this is the Bigfoot Triangle I keep talking about, from Tuscola, from the Cass River over to the Black River. So many of you have heard me talk about it so many times. We've got more encounters, man. A teenager, one of these, this is from Tuscola. Teenager sees a large brown creature walk out of the woods. That's one. A woman hears high-pitched screams, then finds over 200 footprints. A father and a son, daughter, friends see a Bigfoot walk across their yard. And then we've got a Bigfoot seen crossing the road on M46 at Enos Park. That's heading west on the way to Saginaw. So Highway 46 runs from Port Sanilac on the coast all the way over to Saginaw.
That sighting you saw, you have written down here on 46. That's the second sighting there at that place, at that junction of the Cass River, going underneath M46. That's the second one somebody saw there over the years.
Oh yeah, Bob, was it Bob King?
No, it was. Yes, it was Mr. King.
Going to work.
Wayne King.
That's it. Yeah, going to work. He worked at the Flint Assembly. We're all auto workers here. There's a huge plant in Flint. He was heading about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and they stepped over the guardrail and crossed either in front of him or behind him. But he got a good look at it.
Yeah, he stopped. Turned around, and he went down there to see if he could see it, but he had no luck. So he just went on his way to work. Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Hey, Jerry Lentz, we're saying hi to you right now.
Hello, Jerry.
Good to see Jerry. Is another staple of the. Do you know all the Lentzes?
No, I don't.
Probably heard their name though.
But I've seen their names on your show.
Yes. Let's do something here. Hold on a second, everybody. I want to show Dennis something if I can find it. Open. I think that's it. Let's see. What do we got here? Let me see. Open. Nope, that's not it. Hopefully everybody can still see me. Very cool. All right, back to StreamYard. Do you know that I want to show you the footprint that I found at the petroglyphs? Oh, wow. So that is what I'm trying to find right now. Did I have it on deck? All right, Tychorama. All right, let's see. File. New Windows. Well, this one, of course, man. Yeah, I can't find it. That's, from the area. All right. All right. What else you got? I've got just a whole book here. A large Bigfoot seen again at a house near Millington. Um, in Millington and Marlette, we had Bigfoot just walking out of the cornfield. So it's like they're walking and then all of a sudden they're exposed and people are driving by seeing them. So I'm expecting to have more encounters.
You know, I just sent you that one article from the Cass City Chronicle that I remember back in 1982 of a man, a Kingston man. He had a prowler out in the back of his house. He thought it was somebody was out there to steal his gas because he had problem with people coming up to his house and stealing gas. So he took his gun out there, his shotgun, and he wanted chase whoever was out there away. Well, when he seen what was walking towards his garden, he realized that's no person. He fired over its head, and he said when it ran off, it made some awful gutturally noises and screams and whatever. And he shot at it again and missed. And he called out the police, the state police, and they came out there and they looked around to where he said he shot at him, but they found no tracks at all out there to speak of. That was back in 1982, and that was in the Cass City Chronicle back in 1982 in the Cass City Chronicle, Cass City paper there. But that was one of the first time. I was only like 12 years old, so that was like one of the first times my mom read that in the paper and showed me that. Oh, well, all of us kids, look at this. Look what's in the papers. There's an article about a Bigfoot. Somebody shot at a Bigfoot in Kingston. Everybody's like, oh, read the article, and that was it. But there was stuff like that going on in the Carroll, Kingston. Not so much in the Cass City area was reported because nobody wanted to talk about Bigfoot in the Cass City area. So, but mainly Carroll and Kingston, people were more open in those areas of when these things came out, they had said something. And there was a lot more of these. And Wayne King was back then was the investigator.
Yep.
He was from Carroll, Michigan. He was the one, him and that the man from Mayville. What do you remember him? The guy from Mayville.
Oh,
He was with his buddy that went out together
yeah.
to do the investigations out there.
I think he lived off Cat Lake. I can't remember his name.
Kappa?
That might be it.
Kappa. I think his name was Kappa.
Art Kappa.
Art Kappa.
We got it. Art
Okay.
Kappa.
Yeah. But them two did the investigations in the area, and they did that investigation over in Yale when that Yale, Michigan, in the thumb here.
Yeah.
He did the investigation of that woman, that kid at the farm there, reached in to turn the light on in a barn, and touched the Bigfoot instead. And she went to the house screaming, and Dad came out with a gun, and they shot at that sucker as it was running away and making noises as it ran.
And then right by there, it's funny because you said that because
the Black River ain't too far away.
Right. But there's a guy at work who had a Bigfoot encounter, and he lives in Yale. And then I talked to a policeman. I said, "Hey, off the record." He said, "I don't care. No, I'm all about it." I said, "And do you personally know of any Bigfoot sightings?" He says, "I don't, but I've seen UFOs." Mm-hmm. So over Yale, Michigan. So that's something. But yeah, and then right down the road. Wait, I've got it here. I think it's Ruth, right down the street from Yale. Bigfoot threw a dog up on a roof. Tossed the dog. Dog was going after it. Bigfoot grabbed the dog, tossed it up on the roof of the house, the lady said. Yeah. So that's Mayville. So okay. All right, so Robert, I want to kind of announce this. There's a guy who's been waiting for me. I've been so busy. Robert Peslak. He's from Millington area. And boy, does he have the stories, everybody. This is the guy who heard him, saw all the footprints. And then his buddy, back in the day, there used to be these caves that the Sasquatch would come out of in the Murphy Lake, by the Murphy Lake State Game Area. So this is north of Otter Lake. So this is an area teeming. Well, even since then, since they were young, these kind of ditches, and if you go back there, I've been back there. I did a quick video about me out in Millington at the Murphy Lake State Game Area. In fact, that's one of our intros, has me walking through there. But they have since filled up with water, and the guy still saw a Bigfoot walking up out of the water and then going off into the woods, man. So it's like those cave systems are still there, and the Sasquatch are just going in the water and all that.
Remember, coal mining in this area goes back many years. Back in the late 50s on early. There was a lot of coal mining going on in the area here.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. That's huge.
Yeah. So if you go, especially in the Saginaw area,
Okay.
there's big coal mines that were there back then. So there's coal mine tunnels going everywhere down underneath the ground around these areas. Even Unionville, you know where Unionville is, right?
Yes.
Unionville.
Oh yeah.
There was a coal mine there.
Okay.
Yep. And over by Sebring, Michigan, there was another coal mine in those areas.
So that makes sense. Boy, I'd love to see Michigan with the Great Lakes drained.
Yeah.
I'm curious what kind of caverns. If you talk about the copper mines in the Upper Peninsula, you start talking about all the coal mines, man, just going way back. Just want to say hi to Ruth Swisher on YouTube and Harmonica Man Randy. How you guys doing? Man, I really want to try to pull up some pictures.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
It's great to be here talking to the man.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Hey, while I'm looking for some pictures, I want you to tell everybody about the camper with the chickens.
Oh, sure. Okay.
See if this works. Go ahead.
Okay, well, this happened back in late 70s. We had a neighbor farm next to our farm. They had kids there that were our age. And so we'd always go there, or they'd come over to our house to play. But one time back in the late 70s, there was they had this chicken coop, right? But it was an RV, and they made this hole that you can get in through the underneath. That's where the door was, and they had this Malamute, this big old dog with a 50-foot chain hooked up to it so that it protect the chickens in there from coyotes and whatnot. But one time we went over to the play over there, and I still remember going there. The dog chain was, it was all the way tight out as far as it can go. The collar was there, but there was no dog. And there was white chicken feathers all over the yard. And we're like, what happened to the dog and the chickens? I remember my older siblings asking the other ones, and they didn't say anything. They just tell them, no, they don't know, they didn't tell them. But what was really something was, I do remember all that. But as years went by, I started listening to this podcast show, Sasquatch Chronicles. On this show, somebody got on there and started talking about this property in Michigan. And it was one of the siblings' kid that was on there telling the story. And he didn't tell anybody who he was. He went by the name as Ghost. And anyways, I was listening to the story, and this story it just came back to me. Hey, that was our neighbors. that was our neighbor's place that he's talking about. Because of I remember the chicken coop, which was an RV, and the long chain and the Malmu he was talking about. And that Malmu, you couldn't get near that dog. It was a mean dog. It only went by the owners of the place there, nobody else. But I remember that dog, and that I remember the chicken coop. And his guy was telling the story of what happened there. And now I'm like, that's what happened to those chickens and the dog. And this story that he was telling made sense of what, okay, that explained everything, what happened there and why they didn't want to tell anybody, you know? And that's what happened there at that chicken coop. And right after that, in that same time period, I'll tell you about that, my sister's her rabbits.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell the audience here about the rabbits. Right after, around that same time, my sister had like a couple hundred rabbits, and she took them to the fair and a couple of them. And
All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
anyway, she took a couple to the fair, and whatnot. And this happened during the daytime. There was a cornfield on the backside of where this chicken coop was. But we went to town, and just that little town, Cassidy was only about 5 miles from our place. So we went to town, did some grocery shopping. We came back, and my sister went over by the cages and says, "You gotta look what happened here." And the rabbits are all gone. So we went over there, and something crawled underneath these big cages. The wire was, large mesh of gauge wire. It would have to take a lot of strength to walk on. I'll go underneath and grab it and open it up like a tin can. And all the rabbits were gone. And behind the garage was separated from the house, ain't by the house. But behind the garage, there was a couple of them that were kind of buried in the ground. And that was it. No other rabbits around. 200 of them. Where'd they all go?
Mm.
And, well, a few days later, we were cutting grass on the side of the road. And there is like 3 circles burned into the soil of the grass. It's just bare soil. And probably 8-10 feet wide. And for years, nothing grew there. So it could be, I don't know, but might have something to do with that. I don't know. So
Let me add this one to the area. Well, I'll find that in a minute. Hey, sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that, folks. Yeah, we've got so much too physical evidence, but let me read some more. You know what? There's so many. I'm gonna go down this list. So this is all Tuscola County. Man hears howlings before his fawns are taken. Bigfoot tracks were photographed in Tuscola County. A male Bigfoot sighted. Mound of dirt with embedded marker sticks found in the woods. Woman sees Bigfoot crossing the road. Tossed rocks barely miss a woman's head. In Carroll, Michigan, a boy sees 2 Bigfoot creatures in an open field near downtown Carroll. Now that's, oh my gosh, multiple sightings there, including the dog man. That is broad daylight sighting in my church parking lot. And it was just a day or two after Aaron Spencer went out looking, following up on an eyewitness, Mike Bale, Hey, he wasn't sure if it was a Sasquatch or a dog man. And what coincidence? We go look at it. We're turning over every stone. We're just out there extensively. We found footprint. We measured the height of this thing to be between 8 and 9 feet. And what? Within a day or two, this thing shows up broad daylight in my church parking lot. Sounds like he was trying to make a statement to me about not, trying to track these things.
Yes.
No, go ahead, man. I got so much information
You're talking about Carol there. There was an article in a Carol paper that back in the early 80s, people were reporting something running through the neighborhood over by the part where 24 goes south of town.
Yeah. So 24 Lapeer coming up. Lapeer. Yep.
Just out of town there.
Okay.
The Cass River is.
Yep.
And there was a park.
South side.
Yeah, there was the park there. But anyway, just up the street from there, they started seeing something running through the neighborhood. They called the Carroll police. Carroll police got out there and they saw it. And they started chasing it around with their squad car in town. And before it went back towards the river and disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
See, this wasn't a paper back in the late 70s, early 80s.
See, and that's what I'm talking about, this area. Everybody has their area. So we're not saying the thumb is better than anywhere else, but we are connecting a lot of dots. I moved up from Birmingham, Michigan, which is the suburb of Detroit. So you've got nothing but city everywhere. And I get up here and I find it so unique because what you have are small towns splattered throughout the thumb, and then you got to drive a half an hour or sometimes an hour to get from town to town.
Right. That's right.
And so it makes sense. And two, that's not far from the Danny Skinner sighting, the Butternut Creek Bigfoot. So I can totally see one of these urban Bigfoot coming right through town.
Yeah. My dad grew up by the Butternut Creek on Riley Road.
Yep.
In the D4 State Game area.
Yep.
And he used to tell me, when he go to me, he says, when I was a kid, I had to walk 2.5 miles to school. Well, I'd go down Frody Road, and before he'd always come to this one area, he felt like somebody was watching him. And he tell me, he says, I was scared. He says, I get to that area and I hurry up and book it home. He says, But he'd also tell me about, this all was in the early, late 40s, when he was a kid. But he would tell me, he says, yeah, they'd be at their house and it sounded like some nut was out in the woods chopping wood. Out in the woods, he would tell me, Come to find out, it was these things in the neighborhood, and they never knew about it, that they were there.
You just highlighted something very important. Now, I don't know if this is the case in other states, so the NCAI guys, you're going to have to follow up with me on this. What is interesting about Michigan, whether it be Michigan, especially here in the thumb, is we have all of these little, what we would call public hunting areas.
Yes.
You said DeFord. I mean, there's Tuscola County one. They're all splattered throughout the thumb of Michigan. And these are, it sounds corny, but they're all overgrown. The hunter population in Michigan has plummeted. Where that used to be a big thing. I remember growing up in the 70s and the 80s, and everybody's going up hunting on the weekend or hunting season. Well, that fraction has dropped so much where it was probably half the people went hunting. It might be 1 out of 100 people now that go hunting.
And back in the 70s, pheasant hunting was just as big as deer hunting. So you had hunters in there all the time in the fall. In late winter.
But now all these public hunting areas are all overgrown and abandoned. And so when we go into them, we always got to drive down an ancient 2-track road to get back to where people.
And most of them are already, they put rocks or
blocked them off.
They blocked them all off. But we used to go down to those roads, those little 2 tracks to go blackberry picking and stuff like that, you know. But they're all blocked off now. You can't get down in there.
Yeah, the one with Aaron Spencer in episode 7. Yeah, Aaron Spencer, season 1, episode 7 of Bigfoot of Michigan. There's a spot where we're going back on a 2-track and it's blocked off by trees pushed down and huge boulders put. And it wasn't like the city or the county came along and put these things here. No, it was like blocked off to where if you didn't know this was an entrance to a public hunting area.
It was intentional.
Oh, it was intentional.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. All of these public hunting areas that used to be groomed and kept really nice are now abandoned by the state, are all overgrown. And so there's these pockets where the Bigfoot can hide out, you know, near the streams and the creeks that nest down in. We're going to get back to you, brother. I love it that you're here.
Me too.
All right. We've got in Tuscola County, we've got a bow hunter. He heard screams and he sees a large black Bigfoot. Back to Caro, we have 2 boys see a creature in an open field. 2 brothers see a Bigfoot creature in their backyard walking by their pond. Cass City, Bigfoot frightens a coon hunt dogs near Cass City. Creature throws rocks at 2 men fishing at night on the Cass River. That was there's a couple of them which are very well known. And that Cass River was very prominent. 2 guys are fishing, and then all these rocks start being thrown at them.
From across the river.
And that's what they do here. The Bigfoot go into these rivers. That's why I call them the river walkers. They get into these rivers to get the fish, you know, and they just walk for miles in the rivers. Couple in a car see a Bigfoot leap. This is very important. I went to this location. So I went to the camper with the chickens and the Malamute being killed. I went to that location, and at the same day, I went to, and we're going to pull up a video here in a moment that I just uploaded so you can watch. But a couple see a Bigfoot leap. They're on the road, kind of a dirt road, and they see a Bigfoot leap from over the road from tree to tree. I wish I would have taken a video of that, but I've got another video here. A lot of
those trees on that road have been cut down in the ditch. So there was back then there was more trees on that. It was like going down a tunnel down that road.
All right, let's try this one. I think this is the one I just released today. Right here. Yeah, let's do that.
Bigfoots of Michigan coming at you today. We're taking a look at an area, about a 10-mile square area, where we have had multiple reports, multiple sightings, going back decades. So we had a couple of individuals get a hold of us, and it's actually not that well known, you know. People don't want to talk about it until they find out that you're serious about it. But once they find out you're serious, then they start opening up, they start giving locations. And so that's our approach, is to respect everybody who's had their sightings, respect them, get their full story as how it happened to them. And yeah, so excited to be kind of at this secret location and get to do an investigation. Bigfoot of Michigan coming back at you real quick. So I just did the wood knocks. I turn off the phone and I start editing this video, and I hear a wood knock just over my left shoulder here, back at that tree line. One solid wood knock. And then I hear a return wood knock just on the north side of this river, which is across from me. If we flip around over here, the river's right there. So just across that river. And that one was more prevalent. So I did the wood knocks. I got a response. Man, I can't wait to get out to this location much more. So stay tuned, as always, for more of Bigfoots of Michigan.
Awesome. All right, so hopefully we weren't too loud talking, but that road is called the River Road. Now, just north of there was the spot where the Bigfoot leaped over the tree. But Dennis is the guy who told me about this. Now, remind me if I forget after your stories about something else that has happened. So, okay, go ahead. That isn't that the area where the barn was too? And you heard noises where you were walking?
No,
Okay.
no, that the place where that happened was behind my parents' farm.
Okay.
And back there was a gravel pit way back there, but there was like a dead end road where it went to an old farmstead. But all there was is a old barn back there, and one of the neighbor farmers kept his couple wagons and stuff inside it, yeah, up on the barn floor up there. But I used to walk in back there just to get out of the house, just walk around back there. And one time I came up to that barn, something big inside that barn made some noises. It moved around and stuff was moving around in there. And like, yeah, I put it off as nothing,
Right.
just kept walking and went to the gravel pit to watch the crew down in there mining the gravel that's there. Yeah, after a while, went back home. Never thought anything of it, but I believe now, looking back, that was something in there that was big. Had to have been one of these things in there resting for the day. The door was kind of open, enough to you can get in there, but it wasn't wide open. But I believe something went in there. They're just down in that barn there, resting there during the day. That's what I think they used that barn for.
So that, all right, I'm gonna upload another video because it's very, very important. Let's hit some more of these real quick. Two creatures spotted on Pattison Road near Mayville.
That's a famous one.
Is that the one where they're walking down the road?
Yes, and it came to the guys that were delivering them.
Tell that.
I don't know too much about it, but
Okay.
I seen the story of it where what was that back? I think it might have been in the 70s
Okay.
or 80s. I can't remember, but two guys in a delivery. I think they were delivering paper or something, going down that road, and that was right before a Herds. The Herds Corner Road that it goes all the way down and it turns, and then you hit down 24, goes south.
Okay.
But there's that little, you turn and you go down that one section of road. I can't remember that road what it was named. But
We might not be talking about the same story.
But this one here is the road where these two came walking up on them, and it was one of the more famous ones. It was in all the papers about that encounter of these two guys encountering two walking up on them. One of them got out of the car.
Yes, this is the same one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
One got out of there to see who the heck that it was up there and realized, holy shit, I'm sorry, but he jumped back in the car and they got the hell out of there.
Yeah, because I think it was a male and a female Sasquatch walking down the middle of the road,
Right.
and then when the guy got out of the car, the male started coming at him.
Yeah.
And then they got in their car, man. Had to spin around and
Yes.
get out of there, man.
Yep.
Woo!
And that's the one that Wayne King had investigated that one too.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm looking for another video because there is something very important. Let me see. I'll find it here in a moment. All right. This is an interesting Kingston, Michigan. So right off of 46. I'm trying to connect the dots on something. I'm very excited about this. But this one is a couple in a car near Kingston see a creature sitting on a hill just watching them.
That was over by the White Creek area.
Okay, White Creek Road? Isn't there a White Creek Road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like southeast of Kingston. It was along the White Creek. Yep.
See, here's something scary, and you don't know. You know, George Lunsford has brought this up multiple times. The NCI guys, they're the ones who really kind of highlighted it to me. The fact that Sasquatch will be seen around playgrounds. They seem to hear the kids, and they'll move in and watch. You know, that's the other name for them, the Watchers. And this one is about two teenage girls seeing a 7-foot Bigfoot watching them while they were playing hide and seek. So it's just crazy. They hear something about it. They hear kids' voices.
Where was that one?
This was in Mayville, Michigan as well. Millington, and this could be Robert Peslock. I'll have to ask him. Man sees large Bigfoot in Millington in his yard from his bedroom window. I mean, look at it's just a list. Where's the camera? Right there, a list. So many sightings in Millington, Michigan, and that's why I want to definitely get deeper into that. Man, that's good stuff.
Yes,
and
it
then,
is.
oh my gosh! And then I've got all the, and so I haven't printed out the whole book. But a father, son, and daughter and a friend see a Bigfoot walk across a yard.
Hey, folks, you got to remember this whole area. People are very shy of even talking about the subject around here. You know, so to have this many people come out and say, "Hey, this happened to us," that's amazing. You know, so.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on, kids. Hold on. This is it. All right, we're going to play this for everybody. If I can get this uploaded properly. Okay, we're uploading right now. If you've seen, all right, so season 2, episode 3, Caden Lewis had a sighting. I actually should have been point blank. That his, hold on a second. So that's the top one. Hold on. I'll get to that in a moment. Right back here. Okay, there we are. Now, let me bring this video on, and then we'll talk more about this video. Hopefully this is it. Hopefully we got that correct. Here we go. I like the music. So I made this longer because I love that. All right, so why that video was made, everybody, is all right. Hold on. We're gonna chime in. Daniel Too Hot 123 says, I thought my cousin was trying to scare me, saying Bigfoot knocks on my trailer every night. It sure did knock that. And that was the shadow that I seen. And then he says we went to Salt Fort State Park near Ohio with an old bear and had a Bigfoot throw beach ball sized rocks at us in the water. It was wild.
Lots of sighting in that state park. That's for sure.
Fantastic. And then what's this? Let me go back up. Let me see if I can scroll this back up a second. Did you see that one Traverse City TC? Daniel, thanks for all the comments. Hello from Fire Lake, Michigan. Friends with Monsters. Awesome, man. I'm looking for the TC. Oh, there it is. Friends with Monsters says one of my sightings was in TC, which is Traverse City. Hey, Friends with Monsters, if you can email me at the Bigfoots of America at gmail.com or Bigfoots of Michigan at gmail.com, I'd love to talk. We are now booking for season 4 and season 5. We've got all of 3, of course, in the can. We're just editing that. We've got the town hall meeting, everybody coming up in Gladwin, Michigan at the Lodge, September 26th, Saturday, September 26th. That's going to be fantastic. But, man, we are going, and so much information going on. So now, back to that video. Let me check on Facebook for a second. But back to that video, it's important to know that that video is about 2 sightings of the same Bigfoot. And if you go to season 2, episode 3, and watch Caden Lewis in the episode called A Giant, season 2, episode 3, we talk about maybe a 10 to. I was worried about talking about a Bigfoot that tall. 14 feet tall, possibly, is what I had measured. He had told me where on the tree off camera, and then we just kind of filmed it. So check that episode out. And it's really funny because Caden had seen this very tall Sasquatch, kind of looked like a LeBron James physique. He had seen it from Highway 46, Road 46. And when you see something, over in the field, you're like, oh, wow, you seen a Bigfoot. Or like a bull I just saw, and it just goes, hey, that was a Bigfoot. But then you get to the actual spot where this thing was standing, and you realize these creatures are huge. So we've got that episode, but now and I'm like, were you ready to talk?
Yeah, I was going to tell you something.
Go, man, go.
Where this sighting was, this is on 46.
46, south side.
Mike, I had a cousin that had property too far away from there, and they had a gravel pit in the back there, and they saw a Bigfoot one time walk across the gravel pit back there. So they're in the area there.
Yeah, it's what's interesting is it's right by Cat Lake. That stream in that episode goes right back to Cat Lake. So I believe that Sasquatch was following that stream out. And like you said, this is where the hills start really happening. You've got gullies, and then that all connects to Millington and Otter Lake, where there's a ton of hills and gullies.
Seems like all the dips around there, it's all filled with these big old freaking swamps.
Yep.
Deep swamps. You can't get in these places. Some of these places, they got these tag alders in there and stuff. You rip your arm up and stuff just even trying to walk through there. So yeah, this whole area is just really, back in there in these swampy areas. You can't get in these areas, and people don't go in there.
Yep.
You can't, So stuff is in there hiding in these little areas. They don't seem like they much in there, but okay. You try walking through some of this stuff, and you can say you turn around and walk right back out. it's that thick in those areas.
And that stream, so that was south. I followed that, and that's where Art Kappa lives back in there. And that goes to all the Millington sightings, Mayville sightings, where the 2 are walking down the street. But if you go north, everybody, you go north and you follow that stream, that leads up
into
the Cass River by the petroglyphs, multiple sightings. I was looking for the one footprint. Everybody knows it. They've seen it. But in between that sighting and the petroglyphs, a woman contacted me, and she saw I forget what campsite that is, right on N53.
That would be Green.
Yes.
Evergreen?
Evergreen. I think Evergreen campsite. I'm camping there. It's right on the west side of M53. I went back in there. They let me go back in there and film. Actually, I want to do a whole episode with the second eyewitness of the same Sasquatch. So this right here This video in his domain, hopefully they can still hear me. He's been seen twice, 14 feet tall. So 14 feet tall, seen by two individuals. I believe he's up at the petroglyphs as well. I believe maybe even to the extent of Minden City Swamp. So they have these areas, and man, I would argue to say the whole thumb.
That was the Evergreen Park that you were talking about.
Yep, you've got the John Fraser Nature Trail and the Sanilac County Evergreen Park. 14-foot Sasquatch, same one I believe that Caden Lewis saw. That's that video I made. He's been seen twice. He's upwards of 14 feet tall. Both of them described him the same way, as a darker brownish or a brown and a LeBron James type physique. But the thing is this one I get a weird feeling about. You know, you've got the Black River Bigfoots who are tough, and you've got all the other sightings where they may come in, steal something, and leave. This one was more confrontational. Well, first of all, he's seen in daylight with Caden Lewis's sighting, but then when this gal saw her, and I'm not going to give her name up, I'm still trying to get her to do an episode, but hopefully we can get an episode with her. But it said it stood on this, man, I wish I had the pictures. I got them on my phone, but I'm not sure where they're at. It stood on this huge tree, and it just stood and looked at her. I think it even went down a little bit, and it was looking at her intently like this, like, yeah, I'm here. So this could be a more confrontational Bigfoot who's not worried about hiding himself because he's so big. If he's 14 feet tall, and he might be young still because he hasn't filled up. This is a huge Sasquatch we're talking about in the thumb of Michigan along the Cass River. I think he just goes up and down the Cass River. Go ahead.
This one on 46 here that you talked about, the one that the guy said he looked like he is like a basketball player.
Yeah.
That one over there was by the Cat Lake Road area, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find. While we're talking here, we're having fun today. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, it is kind of
I'm gonna see. I thought I uploaded Caden's. Let me see here.
I've lived here since late 2011.
Nope, that's Scott Brush.
I
All right, everybody knows Scott Brush, Urban Bigfoot.
I gotta show you something that's kind of neat. That sighting you're talking about, right there where the guy saw it.
Butter Creek.
Well, this is.
Oh, is this 46 one?
46 right over here.
Yeah.
Up here, look what they named this place.
Right by this Bigfoot sighting, everybody, they have named it the Wicked Woods of Terror Haunted Trail. That tells you something. I'm telling you something. All right, I'm checking. I'm looking for a certain video, everybody.
Down in the valleys.
Nope, that's
Tide
Sherry
that comes
Redew.
in kind of close up to the shore.
Sorry about that, everybody. That is Sherry Redew. I am going to find this video because it's very important at this point. So that was Sherry. She was 2 or she's 3. Let's see this one. Oh, that's Matthew Sexton. We'll find it. Roof Studio. Hope everybody's doing good today. All right, that was 3. All right, this one. Thought I had them all lined up for a show in the past. Oh, no. Oh, nope, that's not it. Remove. All right, hold on a second, everybody. I'm sure I got it. Video file. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. We want season 2. Season 2. Nope, that's Mosquito Alley Monster. Video file. Let's see here. I wonder if it's the one up. Nope. Oh, but we can touch on this one, man.
Facing this way to the fire, and my butt.
Yeah, let's talk about this one.
And your mother told you the whole story as you grew older.
My mother, father, sister, and one of my aunts, they all explained it to me because they had all seen it.
Wow, absolutely awesome. All right, we're gonna take a look around these woods and end up coming.
Big black sock sticking off the bank.
Area. Hey, Aaron.
I'll be right back.
Man, it's so good to finally meet you in person. We've talked on the phone for the last, 3-4 months, texted back and forth. You know, I had been learning so much that there are Sasquatch in this area along the Cass River, and then you got a hold of me with your stories, your encounters, and I was like, oh man, we got to get out there. So this is the spot where you had your major sighting at, right?
Yeah, one of the scariest sightings I had, yeah.
All right, let's hear it, man. What happened?
I was across the river camping and catfishing that night.
Okay, right back on that bank.
Yeah, on the sand part that's down here.
Okay.
And I was sitting on a game trail that came down. That's where I set up my camp. And there was a log sticking off the bank.
Okay.
And I didn't want nothing coming down the log and jumping on me, so I put some deadfall on it. So
all right.
I could hear if anything came down it. And I just caught a catfish and put it on my stringer.
Okay.
And I heard one of the sticks fall off the end of the log that was behind me. So I turned around, and I thought it was a raccoon because it didn't sound very big at all.
Okay.
And then when I turned around, it was a big black Sasquatch standing on top of the log that was behind me.
So a big black one, about how tall?
About 7-8 foot tall.
7-8 feet tall. Yeah, that's a good size.
I couldn't really tell how tall it was since it was already above me, so I was already looking up at it.
Okay.
But it was big. It was really big.
And you heard it step on the branch, and
It kicked one of the branches off,
okay.
and it was holding on to the end of the log with its foot.
So it was like gripping
It was
the
holding on
log
to it
with its foot.
It was holding on to the end of it with its foot.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought maybe it was going to jump off or something at me. So
Okay.
I jumped in the river and came up the deer trail and went home.
You got out of Dodge, right through the water, doesn't hesitate, just ran on home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you end up coming back later or anything?
Yeah, I came back the next day with one of my friends, and we came down here and nothing was touched but the string of fish was gone.
Okay.
It was the only thing that was different.
All right. See any footprints, or you just got your stuff and got out of
I
here?
wasn't even looking for footprints at the time. I was just trying to get my stuff and get on.
No, totally understandable. Now, what's so unique about your sighting is you had sightings when you were young, a toddler.
Yeah.
You actually had a red female visit you when you were a baby on up through your toddler years, or?
Until I was about 7, 8.
Wow, about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll talk more about that as the show goes on, but
Carroll area, there is
Yep.
around that area.
okay.
I didn't know what it was that we were seeing. I just knew it was back there.
Okay. And then your mother told you the whole
It's
story.
down the
as-
road
as
from
you
where they
grew
cut.
older.
Yeah.
It's back into the river.
Father, sister, and one of my aunts, they all explained it to me because they had all seen it.
Wow. Absolutely awesome. All right, we're gonna take a look around these woods and yeah, man, just see if we can find anything. So many reports along here, and no, thanks for being here today. So,
no problem, no problem.
you thanks for being here as well, and stay tuned for more of Bigfoots of Michigan.
All right, so with Dennis Dean here, all his knowledge, this book written by Robert C. Brenner, Aaron Spencer. See, now that video, that is just one of Aaron's sightings along the Cass River in the Cairo, Michigan area. You couple that with the Danny Skinner sighting of the Butternut Creek Bigfoot, which was the Bigfoot in the Beaver Pond. Absolutely spectacular. But Aaron, that was a close encounter. And his encounter, man, I wonder if I can find, I don't know if I can find this picture. I should have preloaded this. We didn't know we're going to go in this direction. I'll see if I can wing it. I don't know. Let me see. No, that's me and Derek Grimm. That's the wrong one, everybody. But yeah, so get that out of there. Aaron, this is very important because this is another data point in all the information. Aaron and I walked upstream a bit, and there's another location where he was fishing at. And a guy and his kid were coming by in a canoe. They were fishing as well. And they all kind of got charged by multiple Sasquatch doing the owl sounds. Now, it was in the evening, and I think they were shaking the trees as well. And that is the same location with Fritz Kubrick and Eric and Tyler all saw their Bigfoots. That's at the same area. That's episode 8 of the Tuscola County sightings in season 1. So that whole area is just teeming. So we talked about the west side of the Bigfoot Triangle here in the thumb of Michigan. Actually, let me read a couple more from Tuscola County. Hunter hears logs thrown about and then sees something big moving away from him. We've got more sighting in Kingston. Screams in the wood coming from the hayfields as well. A Bigfoot screams for almost 5 minutes. I think you'd be able to know if that was a Bigfoot or not.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. When I heard the Black River Bigfoot scream, just like the Sierra sounds, whoop, whoop, huge, so loud, it's unbelievable. I can't even come close to mimicking. More sightings near Cairo, Cass City.
Kingston area there's sure a lot of sightings in that area. I've seen on other podcast shows where guests got on there and told a story I've never heard before. So there's a lot going on in those areas.
Did you know about this one? The Bigfoot seen by 2 women near the bridge over Cass River?
Yes, that was in that book.
Okay.
That was in the book of...
yeah, Robert C. Brenner, Bigfoot in the thumb of
that,
Michigan.
That was in that book. I remember seeing that article.
Man, I liked it. Spotted near the bridge. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
That was right on 46 there too.
Okay, so that wasn't by.
on-
I was thinking that one was by Cass City.
No, that one there was over there by 46.
Okay, so that's more by Mayville then. Gotcha. Or
Yep.
Dayton, was that Dayton Township? Yeah.
Dayton Township.
Yeah, Dayton Township is just huge.
They're everywhere around there.
I even approached, so I'm filming, or I just got, it's somewhere between Aaron Spencer and Danny. And I'm scouting out some areas, and I get to Indian Fields Park. Now, this is an area with old burial grounds, everybody. It's not allowed to be touched or developed. I go back in there and I'm driving around. It's not far from Aaron Spencer's sightings and Eric and Fritz and Tyler and all that. And I see the grounds crew. And I'm like, hey, man, this is a cold call. I'm going to go ask these guys if they've ever heard of anything Bigfoot. Like, So I come pulling up and I come walking up, and sure enough, I'm like, hey guys, we're filming a TV series here. Have you guys ever had any Bigfoot sightings? And the one guy's like, yeah. I mean, yeah. I was out hunting. I didn't believe in Bigfoot. And all of a sudden, and this is by the Cass River as well, walking right by me. So it's amazing.
Just to let you know that I had neighbors. I had told them about some things that are going on. He says, I used to hunt by the Cass River, and I used to hear all these funny noises, like monkey noises and bird noises that never heard like a bird sing like that before or make noises. And he's like, that makes sense, because he said he hunted out in the D4 state game area, and he had the same thing happen out there. And this is years ago, of course, but
Oh, sure.
but there's people after you realize these funny noises, and if you watch a lot of these outdoor shows where they have noises of different animals and stuff, you come to realize that's not any of these creatures or birds that are making these noises.
Right.
And it's something else.
All right, I'm still looking for the one video I've been talking about. Man, I swear I had it here. 3, 4. What's this one? We'll try one more. If not, then we're going to head on to the east side. Yeah, that's the mosquito. It's nice having all of these episodes to kind of rely on. All right, so we talked about just the plethora of sightings. So my biggest thing now, though, is going after this 14-footer. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, I know he's in the area. I know, okay? So too much correlation. But now we're going to talk about Jerry Lynch. If you're still watching, we're talking about your area, pal. I can tell everybody this: Port Sanilac, Michigan. So we just released this episode. Is actually a re-edit of we had released it one time before, but we got more information. We did a re-edit, re-released it for season 3. It is called The Watchers from Among the Trees. And so this is a large, I'll set this up. By Port Sanilac, Michigan, near the shores of Lake Huron, there is a ton of activity going on. I have people having rocks thrown at them while they're in their hot tub. I have a lady who's pruning her garden in the backyard, and a big silver Sasquatch comes and stands. And this is like right by downtown Port Sanilac. She's one of the houses near downtown.
Can I?
Yeah.
Especially north of Lexington, Michigan.
Yes. Yep.
A lot of these sightings happen between there and Port Sanilac.
Yep.
In that area, along the lake there.
Yep. There's nice access to the Lake Huron. And I believe these things are much more water-worthy than we would ever admit. I believe they're subterranean creatures. I believe when they get in the water, they can hold their breath a long time. And I think they even swim out and grab fish. I think their abilities, we need to think like if you're watching the Avengers movies, that's what these things can do. Their strength, their speed, they can see, hear, and smell us before we even know we're in the area. They can see like eagles. They can smell like bloodhounds. They can hear like whatever. Go ahead.
There's some creeks in that area in the fall time. You got salmon that runs up there in the fall time.
Yeah.
So they'll be there at nighttime trying to catch these salmon that are coming into these creeks.
There it is.
And
this is also the location. The BFRO took a sighting just a couple of years ago. A Boy Scout saw one walking, same area, right by Port Sanilac. I think that was on the south side of Port Sanilac. So now that we've got this area kind of mapped out for you, look on a map, Port Sanilac, Michigan, there is a private swath of land out there. And I went out there and I did this video I'm about to show you. It's just been released on our YouTube channel, Roku, all that stuff. But let's take a little bit of a look-see, and I want to break down this video for you as well. So this is the eastern side of the thumb of Michigan near Port Sanilac.
Down in the valleys where the cedar trees moan, the man walks the paths that he
Thanks for
calls his
being here,
own
brother.
home.
Yeah,
He
man.
doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While
Actually,
others
I've been
stay
in the city
hidden,
area.
he's
We
already
gotta go
there. His
talk
name is
about
Boom Boom, and he's known for the state from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate.
It's
A
huge.
legend
I
of
have not
Michigan,
been
bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the god, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flames of a tail to the high river breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he pleases.
And then it'll come over to like the Yale area and stuff up and come
began
up
to turn pale
Peaks
and a
and
mythical
Maiden,
fairy appeared on the
it's
trail.
like a-
She whispered a greeting and she said hello.
That's where you'll find-
I'm your host, Bryan Sawyer, coming at you.
That's where you'll
We're doing
find
this
those
episode a little bit differently because this is a different situation. In this episode, we have been invited out to a large plot of land. And the owners of this land want to stay private. And they want the location of this land to stay private as well. So we here at Bigfoots of Michigan are happy to oblige. So if you have a similar situation, you don't want to give your name out or you don't want to give a location, we can always work around that. But in this episode, we did want to have a side note here that whenever I say landowner, that is actually a reference to 4 different eyewitnesses. And collectively, these 4 different eyewitnesses have seen anywhere between 2 and 4 different Sasquatch. And we believe in this area, the Sasquatch clan could range anywhere from 4 to maybe 8 or 10 members. So it is a really cool plot of land. And so much. Another thing is so much information in this episode that it was practically information overload. There's so much activity there. And we'll get to that later on in the episode. But for now, just enjoy the start of this episode and we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, at this location, the landowner hadn't owned the property for too long and had set up a tent to spend the night. Around 1 o'clock, he heard big commotion. Coyotes, it sounded like running, howling and running. And then shortly after that, just heard a thundering bipedal series of steps or running up to the tent. And then stop at the tent as if it was watching the tent. And then quietly moved away. I kind of think that since the landowner was new on this property and nobody had been on this property for a while, that Sasquatch came down that hill, saw that tent and was kind of shocked and either did a bluff charge or just kind of ran up to see, like, what the heck is this doing here? Now, this reenactment portrays the landowner's actual first sighting. So think Patterson Gimlin as a large, brown, shaggy-haired Sasquatch walks from left to right in broad daylight. All right, we're at the location of the second sighting. And what happened here, there's a pathway here. And the landowner was cutting the lawn, okay? Cutting the pathway. And as they passed by this deer path, thought they saw something out of the corner of their eye. Put the lawnmower in reverse, drove back, and there it was. A Sasquatch right back there, crouching down low, just staring right back at the landowner. We'll get back there, get a closer view of the exact location right now. All right, right now I'm at the location where the landowner locked eyes with the Sasquatch. Remember, the landowner was cutting a path, a new path with the lawnmower. Thought they had seen something out of the corner of their eye down this deer path, backed up, and then locked eyes with this Sasquatch. And this Sasquatch was right here in this very spot, but it was kind of crouched down like this and just looking straight back at the landowner. The landowner said the skin on the Sasquatch was a light gray and very smooth with no facial hair, but had the dark hair all the way around. But in the same aspect, the landowner said this thing had very wide shoulders. So this could have very well been an adolescent Bigfoot. Still had the smooth face, no facial hair, but was kind of growing up a little bit with the wide shoulders.
They pulled a picture from the internet. So this following picture is a closer depiction of the black Bigfoot.
Okay.
All right, so this
is the location.
All right, so on this swath of land, I point out in this video, when I say landowners, it's actually 4 different eyewitnesses, members of the family, who at different times have seen multiple Sasquatch. They figure anywhere between 2, I think I said 4 on here, but maybe even 6 Sasquatch, all on this property. And what's so amazing about this property is, number one, it has a freshwater spring pond source for its water, and then this creek runs down, and you'll see later in this video I go way back into the swamp and I find this makeshift rock pond watering hole that has been made to collect water. Blew my mind when I found that. I point out to the landowner, they're like, no, we don't even come back here. So amazing stuff like that. We also believe it could have been an ancient Indian civilization. So there's a connection there. And then when I call it the Garden of Eden now, there's a connection there with fruit trees, nut trees, any kind of apple tree. It's a huge piece of land with every kind of bear, everything you can imagine. Back in the day, it was some kind of settlement. They have dug down. I'm going to leave it at this because I don't want anybody getting in any trouble. They have dug down in a certain place. They found an old well. They have found a foundation to an old settlement. I'm going to leave it at that. So multiple things going on in this, but there is one thing I want to show you guys. So let's speed this up. Let's bring it back on. We're going to speed it up. In it, they've got a couple of pictures of the Sasquatch watching them, a Sasquatch watching them from the tree line. The picture that was just about to show is tough because I had to zoom in so much, but I want to show you this video. Now, they've heard the Sierra sounds out to everything. I personally heard the samurai chatter out there where me and one of the landowners were hiding in a bush. It's right next to where I got the thermal of an 8 to 9 foot creature later in this episode. So we tried hiding in that bush, hollowing it out and hiding in it. They came up and I heard the samurai chatter. The owl sounds of Sasquatch. Yeah, it's totally
I've had that happen before. Huh?
Yeah.
Owl sounds.
Yeah. There's 3 owl sounds. So think of a 3-member family of a Sasquatch coming up. The dad was like, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then the mom was like, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then the child was like, hoo, hoo, hoo. He's trying to imitate his parents, and he just couldn't do a good owl call. So I've heard all that. But in this video, let's speed it up a little bit. They have a video of a Sasquatch slamming down a branch or a tree or something. And it's from a distance, but if you really watch, you can see the thing being slammed down and you can see the body motion of the Sasquatch. And the Sasquatch is bent over like this and he's pushing this stick down. And of course, we're out there and we heard all the wood knocks. I even got some of that on camera. But let's get to that video where the Sasquatch is slamming the stick down.
Third incident. What had happened is the family was footprints right now.
All right, here it is. In a couple of different locations. Now, this video here was taken just a day or two after we had left the investigation. The landowner was able to record a Sasquatch wood knocking. If you look really close behind the red X, you can see the branch or the large stick being slammed down. And as we zoom in, you're also able to see some of the body motion of the Sasquatch as it slams the branch down. So in that video, you can actually see the figure of the Sasquatch, a big black creature. You can just see the faint outline of it. And that thing is taking that branch and slamming it down like that, making that consistent sound. So absolutely amazing. All right. I found the video. Go ahead.
And where did that happen at?
This is all by Port Sanilac, Michigan, is what I'm allowed to say, close to the shoreline of Lake Huron. This whole Sasquatch clan. Matt Sexton does believe now that it may be the northern territory of the Black River Bigfoots. So you've seen that in Matt's episode, Jim Ingram's episode. So Jerry Lentz, your property could be part of that domain of the Black River Sasquatch as well. Me personally, I want to believe it's a separate clan, but that's me getting my hopes up. All right, now hold on a second. I did want to do one more video before we wrap things up, if I can find it and send it. Hold on a second. Right there. All right. Because to me, this one's very important as to what is coming down the road in our season 4, season 5. Wow, we're almost booked for season 4, about halfway booked. So if you've had a Bigfoot sighting anywhere in the state of Michigan, we're going to try to come out and film at the location of your sighting. If you want your identity obscured, like that video we just watched, the landowners didn't want the location given up, and they didn't want their identities given up. So we totally respect that. I'll come out there and I'll emulate. I'll kind of mimic everything that happened, All right. Let's bring on the one more video, because this is about the 14-footer. And if you haven't seen this episode, let me try to pull it up. Hopefully that's it. All right, I may need to. Bigfoots of Michigan coming at you. Right now we're leaving Sandusky, Michigan, and we are headed once again to Tuscola County. We just had a sighting 2 days ago, and so we're going to meet up with the eyewitness, and we're going to find out what happened. So, we're donning the Season 2 hat for the first time. So, stay tuned for more of Bigfoots of Michigan. Oh, that footprint right there. Hold on, guys. All right, that footprint. Very important. That footprint I'm showing in that intro was found at the petroglyphs. So now I've been told that could be a pale crawler, but this is the area. This is the domain of these Sasquatch. We've got clans, we've got individuals, and right now we're focusing on a 14-footer that has been seen by 2 different eyewitnesses, and this is one of the eyewitnesses' episode. So let's watch this.
His footprint and leaving his mark, with NCI standing right by his side. There's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide, from the blink of a tail to the
Now that picture there, I'm sorry, that's why I'm so excited about you having all these episodes, having access to them. The picture of that Bigfoot there looks very similar to Aaron Spencer's sighting. The reason I have that picture is because Aaron showed it to me and said, hey, this is what my Bigfoot looked like. It's just that my Bigfoot was blacker. So this one,
Can I tell you something?
Oh, yeah.
That picture there, there was a Bigfoot conference up in Wisconsin where I live, and a farmer down the road where I had my encounter with the Bigfoot in the woods, he told the conference that when he chased the Bigfoot with a four-wheeler, it turned around, and that is what he described. That looked exactly like that one.
That one there. This one here.
He's the king of the night and he does what
He described it looking just like that.
Just like that. So it had the snout.
It had that look to it, like that.
So, yeah, is that a Genawaska or is that a Gugwudgie? I'm pulling back up Facebook. If anyone knows the Sasquatch with the snout, hey, Haley, hey, Ruth, good to have everybody on board. Awesome seeing everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Getting back to Facebook, seeing if we got any new comments. All right. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Enrique. Awesome. Good to see everybody. Michael Merrill. All right, so multiple people have seen that type of looking Sasquatch, and I think it's a Gugwudgie or a Genawaska type. It's got the baboon snout.
That was the one that pissed me out of the Tuesday man in Wisconsin. The one that yelled at me.
Yeah.
I heard that the yell was so powerful it vibrated my body. It was probably 50 yards away.
You talked about that yet on here?
No.
All right, listen.
Okay.
That's when I realized.
Good to see you, man.
These things are.
All right, so tell
the
us what
tracks
happened.
in
You're
the
cruising down
cornfield stuff.
M46.
Okay.
Yep,
That's when I
we're
went walking
cruising
with
down
a friend of
the creek,
mine.
and I look down the creek here,
And the
looking
first
at
time I ever
trees, and
heard
look
one of
over,
these
see a
things
big
scream
brown
at us
creature
or
taller
anything,
than
you
a
know.
tree over
That's
here.
when I realized,
And I was like, I think I just saw
these things
Bigfoot.
are
What the
real,
hell
you
was
know,
that?
kind of a.
And he's over here.
That's when it
he's
got me
like,
thinking,
yeah,
but I
think you
wasn't
probably
sure
did.
yet because
it's
I never
very
saw
heavy
it.
in this
Right.
area.
Could have been
Okay.
it.
For
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Very cool. So we're in Tuscola
So
County
this happened
on
back in
the south side of
1991. Bull
M46.
hunting here.
Do
Wisconsin up there.
you know what color it
Yeah.
was?
It was like a brownish,
Okay, kind of like a brownish. Light brown or dark brown?
lighter.
Okay, a lighter
Oh,
brown in color. Now I know it was really quick,
That was in that,
so you
by
couldn't
that
have got too many
cat lake road
details, but
Yeah.
if we can nail
Just down the
down the
road from
color,
there is
which
where
is a
my
lighter
cousin-
brown,
Yeah.
and then we'll get over there right now,
Yep.
and we'll kind of do a size
Kind of a-
comparison to maybe
it's
see
a
how tall it
crossing
was.
area.
How's that sound?
Yep.
There
Alright,
in
cool.
the Cass River. One big ass.
Oh, yeah, he said it was up.
All right, Caden, so we're at the location of where it was standing.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
about
yeah.
5'10" with my shoes on, and you're saying this thing was pretty doggone tall.
Yep.
So what are you thinking?
8 to 10 feet.
About 8 to 10 feet, and how wide, like maybe in comparison to this pine?
So I mean, it was pretty skinny. It
Okay.
was maybe like this. It was hard to tell from the distance, obviously, but like it was skinny.
Okay, so more like a NBA player then?
Yeah.
Okay, so tall and lanky, and anywhere between 8 and 10 feet tall.
Yeah, he's a small
light
kid.
brown in coloring.
Yeah.
And boy, yeah, I mean, you got a good look at it. Do you think it was going that way or heading towards the road?
It was like looking at the road and like it was scared of the road. Like it wanted to go that way, but it was like hesitant.
Okay, so it came out of the brush
Wait
here
for a
out of this
car,
forest
no
behind
cars.
us, probably following the creek here, the river, and then realized that, you know,
They're so
we've got
fast,
traffic.
you can make it
What time
across
of
them.
day was it?
Like that.
About
So you would-
8-ish.
About 8 p.m. Okay,
Yeah.
so we got still plenty of daylight here in Michigan. No,
That's one
awesome.
thing about these things.
What we're
They're
going to do now,
fucking
Caden, is just
quick.
take a look
Yeah.
around
Lightning
and see if we
fast.
can find any
Where it's a
footprints or
blur.
anything. All right, man. Hey, thanks so
I
much.
had this happen in the UP hunting. I had something going from tree to tree that was a bird, but I never saw it. We could,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah, when you want them, they don't come.
yeah.
At Bigfoots of Michigan, we're here with Caden. We're just looking for some possible footprints right now.
There were some
There's
impressions,
something
but
there.
nothing definite.
Well,
There's a big,
we used to have them come to our farm. Background's always
right there, that's kind of padded down. We're just gonna look right here.
Underneath
Definite disturbance right here.
their window where I one knocked on the side of the house.
And this is a game
Way up there,
trail. We're
second
gonna go around
story.
the back.
The grass around there was
Looking
flat.
at maybe
That's all
where
there
this thing
was.
could have came in
Big-
at.
big
All right, back
tracks.
through here. Definite disturbance.
Nothing big enough
Over
to
there, kind of a gap
second
game
story
trail.
up there to hit the side of the house. There's right
And then
next
coming
to
in from that
an
direction.
apple tree right there.
And
All
we've got
these
the
things
creek here.
happen around.
And you think
When
it was
all the-
standing right about
Stuff
here.
starts to come into,
Okay.
ripening and stuff. That's when we used to have all this stuff happen. Always around this time.
No mud or
To
anything to get
September
any
was
footprints.
always the time.
Do have a little bit of something there.
You know,
So we got a little bit of a game trail that goes down there. We got some impressions here. Boy, heavy impressions here.
hold our when you smell this musky smell,
So that
It
could be
goes
where
with
it
it.
came up.
you know.
Yeah, that's a
There's
long
little
stride.
wind.
Yep.
So
If the wind's coming
I've
here,
got an impression
from
right
that,
about here.
you can't smell until they get in the
Unfortunately,
wind.
I don't have the tape measure
Pretty
around me.
small. They
I
walk
always come
away
back though
and they
to right there.
the smell disappears.
So it looks like maybe
So
this whole
the
embankment,
smell hangs
they
with
could have
them.
taken
Really
up
odd.
1 or 2 steps.
Skunks only smell when when they get purple.
Yep.
They spray and it's there for weeks or days, or that same smell. But these things here, that's what happened. That's when you know when they're around. We always had them around the farm. Summertime, this time of the year. Especially they come around at night,
Yeah.
you know.
The man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows.
Yeah, we see skunks and stuff
12
all the
feet.
time. We did.
So
They
this
didn't
gave-
smell at all, They
Yeah.
don't smell unless they don't carry that smell with them unless they spray something. Very odd.
Bigfoots of Michigan coming at you a day after we met with our eyewitness. So about 3 days
Makes
after
you
the
wonder that
Sasquatch
smell
stood in this very
When they're
spot.
invisible.
Now our eyewitness
Oh.
Caden said that the height of
smell
this
got something to do
Sasquatch
with
was
it?
comparable to the
I
height
don't
of
know.
this tree that it stood next to. So we brought our tape measure. Right now we've got the tape measure set at about 12 feet. So this gives you an idea of how tall this thing was. I would say anywhere from 10 to 12 feet, maybe even a foot taller. So Caden also said that this creature was a little bit more on the skinny side, so maybe built more like an NBA player. It was light brown in color, about 8 p.m. at night. I think this thing was probably following the river out, following the fish,
Corridor there.
freshwater clams, had got to this point, saw the bridge with all the traffic, maybe got a little bit confused as to what to do next. And Caden said he had about a 3 to 5 second window to watch this thing.
It
That
might
might have been
just,
standing
it might
here
just cross the
confused as
road
to
under
what
the
to do
bridge.
next.
too.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So as always,
And
stay
nobody
tuned
ever knew it was
for
there.
more
either.
of Bigfoots of Michigan.
All right. So we wanted to touch on that. Dennis and I are talking back here. I need to double check with the second eyewitness about the color of the Sasquatch. I still believe it could be the same Sasquatch, but a 12 to 14 footer, people, is what we're looking at. That corridor, as Dennis was saying, man, that leads up to the Cass River, to petroglyphs, and then going on to the Minden City Swamp, which I've only been back in once. I think, went back in there once, and it was too overwhelming. Too much land, too many swamps. But what do you know about sightings there in the Minden City Swamp?
It is mentioned in that book that in that Minden City area, a DNR officer came forward and reported that they had seen a 8-foot black Sasquatch in the Minden City swamp area. And it's in one of these reports written down. That's what they've seen out there. This was a DNR officer, and DNR officers are the people that most people will believe.
Right.
Cops, DNR officers, and whatnot, the law enforcement community. So they have one tell you that they reported one in that swamp, suggests that there's a deer there, and people that do see them in that area have known that they are there and report them. So
Yep.
it's really an important thing to connect the certain spots where people are seeing these things, and it's connecting in this triangle area that he's reporting. They and they never these things never set up shop in one area. They'll use the resources of a little bit here and there and there. So you don't realize you're missing too much, or somebody's even had a clue that they've been there. So these things are smarter than what we think they are. They are something to behold of how they move around and survive, and without our knowledge of a lot of people not knowing that they're there. So yeah, that's
Oh,
something.
fantastic. With that in mind, very interesting. I'm going to be speaking at the Port Sanilac Museum Friday, October 2nd. Yeah, so we're going to have a presentation there about all the Bigfoot in this area. Everything we've been talking about today and more.
If I had the time and time off to come down for that, I definitely would attend that one. That one sounds like a good one, boy.
I'm gonna be hooked up for that one. I mean, right in my hand, I've got 2 more reports from Marlette. I've got to talk to this guy, a guy by the name of Bryan Shad. Says he lives in Marlette, and he has some Bigfoot stories. Another guy from Marlette had stones thrown at him, and he had just built. This is on Montgomery Road, just east off of Van Dyke. Built a new house. Thought everything was normal. Started getting rocks thrown at him from the brush in his backyard, and it happened on multiple nights. He says when he started target shooting with his gun is when it all stopped. I went out there. There is what? An old rock quarry filled with water. Railroad tracks for passageway back and forth. Railroad track goes up to Carroll, Michigan, down to Brown City, where there's also been sightings. So we've got too much information here.
Yes.
So Bryan Shad, if you watch this, I will be contacting you shortly. And then if we go to Minden City Swamp and then keep heading north, I've got the Wendigo sighting right here. Shouldn't be showing that. Up, what I'm allowed to say is up near Bad Axe. Is it Bad Axe? Yeah. Port Austin, Bad Axe area. So then you're getting off. We touched on Dogman a little bit today, but now you're talking about Wendigos. And that was an amazing account because I get up there, Laura and I get up there, and as soon as we get to the road where the encounter happened, where this guy was attacked by a Wendigo, he had to shoot it point blank in the chest. As soon as we get there, what's crossing the road? A huge herd of deer. So if I believe in that, the Christian narrative about manifestations, legions of demons. Supposedly this deer got taken over by a legion of demons that were after this guy and his wife. His wife later died of cancer from being in this particular house. And then he got attacked by this so-called legion that was talking to him. They took over a deer. This thing reared up on its hind legs and it came after him. And luckily he had the shotgun and shot that thing point blank in the chest, and he hasn't heard from it since, and he's moved away because he's praying he doesn't have cancer or any kind of ill effects from that haunted house, so to speak. Yeah, what had happened is it was a vacant house, I believe, for many years. They moved into it. We're going to fix it up, and there was a legion of demons in that house. Yeah, so that's another story. So yeah, we could go on and on today with
I mean, I have a lot of stories to myself of how I got
No,
into it and stuff.
let's hear it. Do it.
But and all these little things that were going on the farm back in the '70s and stuff. We've always didn't think of anything of it could have been a Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever. But after I've been listening to these podcast shows and about 10 years ago or so, they started coming out 12 years ago. I turned on, I started watching Sasquatch Chronicles, and that's where I've learned of what happened down the road with the chickens and stuff. And I'm like, boy, that sounded like, the neighbors. But that I started listening to a lot of these podcast shows like that, and I start realizing that happened over to our place back in the '70s and '80s. I started listening to more of these encounter people were telling. It's like, hey, that happened to me, or that happened to me, And I started putting these things together. Of hey, there must have been something in those areas back in the day, and but I really didn't think of there was such a thing in this dumb area. But I had an encounter. My first introduction that these things were around was when I was deer hunting back in 1991, deer hunting in central Wisconsin. Me and my friend were hunting this property we had permission to do. And I built a homemade tree stand out there in a tree, and both of us went out there. Our bow season starts in October. September 15th. It starts in Wisconsin, so it's a little earlier than in Michigan here. But we got out there the first day we were out there, and the golden time of when animals start to move around when the sun goes down. Well, just around that time, something way back in the woods there made a sound, and the closest I can probably think of what it sounded like was if anybody have seen the old movie Legend of Boggy Creek, and the introduction of the noise of this Bigfoot that was making at the introduction of this movie. That's what the sound sounded like out in the woods. And so we heard it, but we didn't get out of there right away. Kind of was way back there, but when we got down and we parked our car in a hayfield next to a cornfield, we got down and we met out in the cornfield by the hayfield there. And we're like, did you hear that? Yeah, what the heck was that? We talked about it the way home. That was it. We came back the next week. We had jobs that we couldn't go out to this property until the weekends. We lived in town, and it was about 15, 20 miles away. So we came out there to the weekends. But the second time we came out there, we went to our same spots. He was like 180 yards away from me, and there's a creek there called the Fenwood Creek. It was narrow enough where you can just jump over it. There's this little spot. There's a trail that goes over to this creek, and it's real narrow at this one spot where you can just jump over the creek. So that's what we did to get to the other side of into the wooded part. And we got in our spots, and I was up in my homemade tree stand, and he was over in 180 yards away by these pine trees and apple trees that were out over in that area. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden this thing at around the same time came between us and made that sound again. So this thing was in between us now, not way back, in between us. And it made this sound. well, we got kind of scared, and we just walked out of the woods. He was walking out, and we met up at the same time out on the hayfield there. And he's like, "What the heck was that?" And we were walking back to the car, and he says, "I'm not coming back here anymore." It scared him pretty bad. So it had to have been a little bit closer to him than me, because I was scared too, but we didn't know what it was. We talked about all the way home. He says, "I'm not going back." He was a tough guy. He was like me, tough guy, hunter and everything, and blue collar worker, You can, so he never came back, but I came back another time. I came back and I said, "Oh, this is something." And so I went back hunting again there. But this time, at around the same time, this thing, I can hear something running through the swamp. The creek opens up to a swamp back there, and you can hear this thing running through that swamp. Choo, 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 choo. And it got on the dry land, and it was coming closer. You can hear this bump, bump, bump. Not a ba-dump, 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 like a deer would make in the woods. Like when they walk, you can hear the grass or leaves or whatever. You can hear a difference between something on 4 legs or 2 legs. Well, this thing was on 2 legs. You can hear it. But the thing got close, probably about 50 yards. It went to the north of me. And then it went across the trail where it was coming from or whatever. And it went to the south of me. Then turned around, come back. It came to the same spot where it came to. And it sounded like it went back a little ways or where it came from. But then it turned around and screamed at me. That's when I felt it, the vibrations from this thing screaming at me. If you ever been to a concert and you buy the speakers and you felt that the bass hitting you, that's how it felt. How this thing, when it yelled at me, that's how it felt when it hit me. That noise. But that was like 12 feet up in the air. I threw my bow down. And I jumped out of there, got the heck out of there, and I got to by where the hayfield and cornfield is, and I noticed inside that field right there, there was something walked through there. So I went over there and I looked in there, and there was these tracks, probably about 17 inches long, I'm guessing about. And there was these tracks, and they're about 5-6 feet apart from each other in a straight line. I'm like, that's really odd, wow, what the heck is that? And I'm like thinking to myself, no way. So I got to my car and I drove up to that lady that owns the place, and she had a little farm there. And I knocked on her door. I says, you got something out here. Do you have a spotlight on you? I didn't have one on me. And she said, yeah, I got a spotlight. And she told me, she says, yeah, on certain nights the barn door would rattle. And she says, I know there's something out here, but I don't know what it is. But that was my encounter with that. The next day, I had told some people I worked with what had happened out there. And they're like, nah, okay, come with me. I'll show you. So I took them out there and showed them these tracks. And they're like, oh my God, no way. Hey, they're like, okay, that's good enough. That's all I need to know. And he got in his car and left, never saw him again, But that was the first time that it was a eye opener. That was the same season when they had that encounter, Elkhorn, Wisconsin, of the dog man.
Okay.
And Linda Moulton Hall, she's the one that I think it was Linda. She had that story about the she wrote the story of the dog man.
Oh, right.
It wasn't Linda. It was
I
But anyway,
know
she
what you're
had
talking
she
about,
had
yeah.
passed away, but she put the story in the paper and stuff about the encounters people were having of that, and that got me clicked like, what the heck? Because this track was really funny looking, but it was long, and it had like 3 I saw three long toes, and it was like a toe that was stuck to the side.
Oh, really?
So it was like this, but the track was like that, and it was probably about, I'd say about 5 or 6 feet, 6 inches wide. So that was an odd looking track this thing was making.
Yeah.
So
So to me, it's like this thing at the beginning. Are we talking about a dog man here? Is it a Gugwidgee Sasquatch or is it a dog man? It's almost like something in between. If I can do this. No. Oh,
Had a couple of individuals get a hold of us, and it's actually not that well known,
I noticed that people down south report these things that only have 3 toes.
Really?
Yeah.
See, oh man, where's that picture?
Yes. You take the area where I was, the Fenwick Creek, and it empties into the Wisconsin River. Wisconsin River empties into the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way, all to the Gulf. So, you could have them type of critters coming up through those corridors.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
Trying to find, I think it's 3-toed, but this is from the Saginaw Bay area, the Giles LaFave encounter area. And I've got another eyewitness who doesn't want me talking about him, and another location. Oh, here it is right here. So let's pull this up. You see that one?
This is what I'm talking about.
All right.
Something similar to that.
All right. So 2546. Let's get back to that. Let me try to pull this image up here. We'll dump that. Hold on. 2546.
Can I give you your pen right there?
Yeah. Go ahead. We're going to try to pull up this image of this footprint. 2546. So this is one of our eyewitnesses who doesn't want to be named. He got this footprint. So there's your 3-toed footprint. Is that a Sasquatch? Is that a dog man? Is that something in between?
This is something similar to what I saw as a footprint.
Oh, cool. So it's got like the 3. We'll get that off. Hold on. Get that up. So you see that footprint right there that Dennis just drew. So that's the kind of footprint he's looking at. So yeah, all types of crazy creatures. Anything else you want to talk about, Dennis? This is your episode. We talked about a ton.
So I had that encounter. Now I'm like, wow, these things, because when it made that noise, it sounded like from that movie from Legend of Boggy Creek. You remember the introduction of that?
Best movie ever.
But that's what I heard. And then I saw the tracks, and I'm like, no way. That's when I kind of realized these things are out there, but I wasn't really sure yet because I never seen it. So one day, this is when it all changed. Back in 2017, I had my actual sightings. I was coming back from Michigan here from Easter, and I was heading back home, and I was like up by Abrams, Wisconsin. That's north of Green Bay, and I was on this road, Highway E. It was called Highway E, and about a mile and a half from 41 to the west, this was getting to be towards the evening, because it's like a 9-hour drive to get back to where I'm from. So it was getting to the evening. The sun had just went down, but it was still light out. But this was in March, and what was there was a checkerboard type area around there where there was a woods on one side, and then on the checkerboard on the other side there was a woods, but on the other opposite sides was a wheat field that was green, and then a hay field on the other side, kitty corner opposite of each other. But where the wheat was, there was probably about a dozen deer out there feeding on that wheat that was in there in the spring there. But before I got to that, I smelled this skunky smell.
Mm.
And the wind was coming from the southwest, coming towards my direction from the southwest before I got to that field. But when I got to about that field, the wind carried that stench from these things that were hiding in the corner of that hay field, ready to go across the road to hunt those deer. And well, when I went past at 60 miles an hour and I saw them in the corner, there was two of them. I went and turned around and they were gone. But what these things look like, the biggest one was crouched down on its haunches, and it was a black one with the tips of the hair were kind of brown. I seen this, and it kind of had a conical head, and it was really bulky. And there was another one next to it that its midsection was the same color, and its arms hair was the same color, but the other areas of it, the hair was like more of the grass color, and it had like a sheephead's head to it, where you could tell that there's hair over its eyes, so you can't tell. It was that color of the grass by its head, where you could see that it was covering its eyes, But that from the road, that must have been probably 100 yards from the road. So you kind of had you could type of kind of see it, but you couldn't tell really good details. But you could see that. That one was kind of like standing, and the one that was on its haunches, if it stood up, it probably was 10 feet tall. And the one next to it, I would say 7 feet tall at least. But them two were waiting to go across the road. And that was my first eyewitness of the only time I ever saw one. And that was the two I seen at the corner of the woods of the field. And after that, that's when I dug into all these podcast shows and stuff that started coming on. And I actually was on one and did a podcast on one of them
And now you're on another.
to get it off my chest, because it was bothering me so long that I needed to tell somebody. And I came forward to this other podcast show to tell him. And I didn't care if anybody thought I didn't care, but I needed help. And this was like a therapy thing for me to go on this show and tell my stories of what had happened. And now I'm telling you guys what happened, some of them anyways, that happened around here. So I'm so great that he had contacted me, and I contacted him, and now we're together here and doing this show. So more of you people that are not willing to come on a show, but find people like him that are interested in this subject, and they won't criticize you or anything like that. They'll listen to you, and most cases they'll agree with you on what's going on, because he's had sightings and activity happen to him too, just like I did. And I know these things are around, but what are they? We don't know. Are they interdimensional? They could be, because a lot of times you'll find tracks and they disappear. Where'd they go? Could they go into another dimension? What about these UFOs? Same things. People are seeing these things, and all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. Are they connected? Could be. So that's what I got to say. So that's really good stuff. So I'm hoping you stay with this guy, and he's doing a lot of work around here, helping us out and helping people that have had sightings come forward and tell their stories. It's great. Thank you very much, there, Brian.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate all the kind words. I think the main thing I want to do is get the word out there. And the word is not just that there's one Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot out west somewhere. It's that no, these things, I hate to say it, all over, but they're over a lot of the area. And just in the thumb alone, your stories, this whole book, so many eyewitnesses coming forward. There's a history of sightings. So that tells me the population of these creatures, whether it be in the thumb of Michigan, the rest of Michigan, upper and lower peninsula, or the rest of the nation, the numbers of these creatures between Sasquatch, dogmen. I'm filming with Donna Copus. Here's a little update for everybody. I see a Sasquatch turn and leap away. I have a line of orbs come into my bedroom and wake me up. I believe they were fairies in orb form. Crazy occurrences. So what we're trying to do is just get the word out there that no, you're not crazy. You did see something. Let's talk about it. So Dennis, thanks for being here to talk about it.
I sure am.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. You're welcome anytime. You've been a staple, a foundation stone of the Bigfoot of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoot of America podcast show. So I can't thank you enough for being here, my first guy in studio here today.
Just like, I'm really appreciating him that he's doing all this for all of you out there. It took a long time for people around here to actually come forward and say, hey, this happened. Because, hey, look, we live in this farm country here, and there's very little areas that these things could possibly hide out. But then you realize, then you look around like, there's areas here that, people never go into. And now we're finding out that, these little areas that nobody goes into, these things are hanging out in there. Coming out at night, going to these farms and stuff, taking what they can, and not taking too much for them to have people notice that they're around. I mean, we've had a lot of things happen to our dairy farm over the years, because on our farm we had every little type of fruit, like apples, cherries. We had cherries, apples, plum, peaches, all kinds of apple trees. We had a little vineyard in the back. We had blackberry, blueberries. I mean, it was a smorgasbord for these things to come around about this time.
That's it. Let's see here. Basically, when the lights go out, when it turns to dark time, when the lights go out, they come out. So, and we have a wonderful community here, and I'm honored to do it. Be here for everybody so you can tell your story. So, if you've got your story, look down at the bottom of the screen here. It says, from Michigan to a nation of Bigfoot sightings, bigfootsofmichigan.com, or email us at Bigfoots of America, that Bigfoots with an S of America at gmail.com. And of course, we also have the Bigfoots with an S, Bigfoots of Michigan at gmail.com as well. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Dennis Dean, can't wait to have you back. All right,
I'll
man.
be back again the next time I'm in town. So
awesome. That sounds great. All right, everybody. Until next time, our new time is Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We were able to get Dennis in the studio today and kind of to freestyle it, and it's been a ton of fun. So until next time, stay tuned for more of the Bigfoots of America podcast show.
See you guys.
Down in the valleys where the cedar trees moan, the man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howling of the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please. It started when sunlight began to turn pale, and a mythical fairy appeared on the trail. She whispered a greeting and she said hello. know, and pointed to places where the brave man won't go. Now he's bound to the hunt and he's bound to the chase with